Alright YouTube, this is OBX Hatman here. I'm going to give you all a little explanation as to what exactly this is. This is a Wilderness Systems Radar 13.5. I contacted Seadek and asked them to get get a template kit from them to do my kayak, and they were nice enough to tell me that I could have a whole kit for free, being that I'm actually doing pretty much all the work to get the template done. It's a courteous thing for them to do for me. So I'm trying to show y'all exactly what happens when you get this template kit and what I've done up to this point. So what we're going to do is go over the first part, which is buying the kit, obviously online, which was about $35, maybe a little bit more than that. Depends on how many pieces of mylar you actually have to get. That would depend on the size of your vessel. So I got that kit in, which was just blank mylar, no writing on it or anything. Laid it out, cut it out, and fit each piece where I would think that I would want some padding for my kayak. And after I got all that done and traced it out with a marker that they give you in the kit, I sent all the pieces into them. They put it on a CAD machine and they diagram out all the pieces to be laid out on mylar again, but with lines that you can cut out and fit the pieces in. This is the stage that I'm at right now. Right now I have all of these pieces cut out and in place, and for most of the time this particular video is going to focus on being sent to them so they can see where to make the changes on the pieces. Now, I didn't do this at exactly the best time of day, and there's some things that they tell you to do when you get the mylar back with the print, and it's not really as easy to do as what they seem to say it is, in that there's a lot of concave contours all inside the boat, and they want you to leave a little bit of a edge, so to speak, around each one of the pieces that you cut out so you can make changes with a marker. But that's very difficult to do if you want the pieces to actually fit in place where you traced them out. So in lieu of that, I decided to just cut them out exactly on the lines, or as close to on the lines as I possibly could. Laid them in place, and I'm just going to do this video for them mainly so that they can see where to make changes at. So let's go over and start at the nose. And at the nose, I noticed on the blueprint that they had sent, the measurements on the nose on this particular piece, these two pieces that sort of marry together, this piece here is actually a little bit longer than this piece. I don't really know why they decided not to make those pieces the same distance. Obviously my kayak is not shorter on one side than the other at the nose here. So those two pieces should match the same distance. I don't really care if it's shorter on this side or longer on this side, but they should be matching the same distance. Back here, this cutout looks fine. This does not look too bad. Probably could do, I would say on this particular spot here where you have this logo that rounds around, you could start at about the sides here and cut down, change it on the diagram to just basically go straight down and do a radius that leads into a nice clean radius that leads into this curvature of this radius. That would probably make that look better. I think it'll look a little funny once I got the padding on. Going back down this way, everything here looks okay. This lines up and goes down to this drain. Pretty good. Over on the other side, I don't really know why these two pieces here aren't connected, but I guess that's just for maybe it's a little difficult for them to cut them pieces out because they have to put a like a beveled edge on the foam. So, but that's fine if they do that. Doesn't bother me. Down here, this lines up pretty good. I think this piece is just a tad bit out of position. Probably needs to be shifted a little bit that way, a tiny bit, and that would make that fall in place. So I think that would probably be fine. Going to the centerpiece of the hatch. Front hatch. Everything sort of looks pretty good. Look at all these seams. I mean, there's a little bit off on this side here. I'd say about maybe 1/8 of an inch, but I'm not too worried about that because it's even on the other side as well. It's about 1/8 of an inch, so as long as they're the same, that's fine. And I'd rather have a little bit of a lip there showing, just for being able to work this a little bit easier. And this edge here seems really close to the edge. You could back this back radius off, this whole back radius off, and just shorten it by, like, I'd say maybe 1/16 of an inch all the way around. This radius here looks okay. Right here, this radius comes back about 1/8 of an inch. That probably could be lengthened a little bit by 1/16 of an inch all the way around. Centerpiece where the logo's at is fine. All of that looks okay. I'm going to move back to this next piece. This next piece doesn't come quite to the edge. It's about 1/4 inch off, or a little less than 1/4 inch from coming all the way to the edge. But I don't think that's really much of an issue because I think I got it a little bit too far down. But this radius does match up correctly, so that does match up correctly on this side. So it might be in position and it might be just a little bit off. I probably could shift it a little bit this way towards me because it's not quite to the edge over here. And that would probably make things line up a little bit better, so I don't think anything needs to be changed on this particular piece. And that looks okay. I can make that work. And then this one is right up to the radius on here. This edge is about the same as the other side. This edge here is, I might have cut that a little bit too far back, but I think that'd probably be fine. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, going on back inside the cockpit. Okay, I want to explain something here about this particular model of kayak. I don't know, it's very difficult to see. There's a textured surface that you can feel, and then there's a smooth surface. But they both have the same exact pattern for the pellets that they use to make the mold. So the smooth surface is very difficult to tell. There's an overlap here. It starts about where my finger's at and goes, this piece overlaps the smooth surface and goes onto the other surface by about maybe 1/8 of an inch. I'm not going to be too picky about that because I think these pieces can be shifted around to make them look fine. Like it's smooth right here where my finger's at, but the mylar is a good 1/4 inch away from the edge of the radius here. It actually goes right to the top of my finger right here. I'm basically tracing it with my finger. So I don't know if you want to fix that or not. If you do, it's fine. If you don't, I could work with that. Next piece back, and all these pieces here are pretty much the inverse of the other side. So I'm not going to do the other side just to save on time on the video, because whatever changes need to be made over here will have to be made over there as well. Looking at this radius, that looks okay. That all looks okay. Right here, you notice where this kind of has a sharp turn on its radius at this point right here. The way the piece is cut, it's kind of like just straight around. It doesn't have that sharp bend in it. I actually would like to get that changed to where that bend is a little bit more noticeable on the padding, to match this a little bit better. It's, I'd say, about an 1/8 inch inward at this point, and I don't know exactly how you'd be able to do that smoothly, but y'all are more the professionals on that than I am. So I would like to have that to where it matches more of this right here, and that would have to be done on the other piece on the opposite side as well, because it comes out the same. Moving on back to the next piece. This piece here, radius looks fine. This looks fine. This piece has actually got a curvature to it. The Mylar that they gave me that I cut out's got a curvature, and looking at it now, it has a curvature, but a very slight one, so it's almost straight. You can almost make this line here straight and be fine with that. You'd have to do it on the other piece. This looks fine. This rides a little high up on the smooth side. It actually overlaps the rough, but the rough is not so rough that the padding won't stick to it. That looks good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, move back to the next piece. This is the piece that's inside the little cubbies. I think both of them will be fine. I'm not going to really get too crazy about those. They look like they'll fit in there perfectly fine. Move down to this piece right beside the center hatch. That radius there looks good. That looks good. Going across here, that's all fine. This radius here is fine that they cut out. I know I got tape over it, but it did look good. I remember doing it. So that looks pretty good. Move back to the next piece. Next piece here, this piece here looks pretty good. I think there's a little overlapping, once I said, again, from the smooth to the rough, but I'm not too awful worried about that because it still will stick to it good. Yeah, this holes will line up good. Next piece, bigger piece in the back. That looks good. This sticks out a little bit further than this. This is like a curved surface they did with the Mylar, but this has got kind of the same thing as that second piece up there in the cockpit. It's got like a sharp bend right here. I mean, if you want to fix that and just make this come a little bit further out, 1/8 of an inch or so, or a little less, that would be fine. Not really going to worry about it too much if you don't do that. Pretty happy with it like it is. All the radiuses look fine. Next piece back. This piece looks like it'll be fine as well. These two pieces here are actually under the seat most of the time, so I'm not going to be too picky about how they look. They look pretty good though. And then the centerpiece, which rests mostly under the seat, but this part here comes actually a little out from underneath the seat. This curves up at this point, which is why it narrows. That actually looks pretty good. I can work with that as well. Center hatch piece, that came out pretty good. It's a little bit further to the right than to the left. There's actually a little bit more of a lip here than there is over here by about a 1/16 of an inch, but I'm not going to knock it too much, because I still think once the padding is in place it'll still look fine. But you could add a 1/16 of an inch right on this side, and that would come out pretty good, I think. And then going back here, this is where you put your stowaway tackle. That looks like that'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be able to work with that good. Yeah. And then moving back to the back, this is probably where I made most of my mistakes, because this was the last piece that I did, and it was very cold outside and my hands were shaking pretty bad. These ribs that actually stick up about 3/4 of an inch that run back here, there's quite a bit of difference here. I'd say about probably a good 1/4 inch on both sides of this radius and when it goes straight down. I noticed on the diagram that it wasn't even, but that's more from my mistake, not their mistake. Evening up these posts here probably would be a good idea. I'm not going to be too crazy about it. For the most part it lined up. The only part I had a problem with was up here at the top. This radius in this corner, this right corner, it came out fine in relation to the rib supports here in the middle. Okay, so that would work. But then when you got over to this other side, and you can see I basically cut it the way that they traced it out, this actually rides up in this corner quite a bit, about a good 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch. So I think that needs to be changed. This needs to be more straightened out. And as far as, let's see, the rest of it, that corner looks okay. The opposite corner looks okay. I could probably make that stick and work. Going back to this back portion, I had this cut out because this is a concave area in the back, and I don't even know why Wilderness Systems did this particular part. Maybe it's for drainage or something, I have no idea. And this, I think on the diagram, these two pieces are not the same distance back. I think this piece is a little shorter than that one, so you probably need to extend that piece by about a 1/4 inch or so, just to make it match this other side. And thinking that's going to be pretty much about it. Like I said, Seadek's been wonderful. They do a very good job as far as the templating process goes. It is a lot of work, but for the most part it came out pretty easy. And I will be sending them a link to this video as well so they can see what to do. Just make sure when you cut these templates out you have a very, very sharp pair of scissors, or you have some other method that can cut them out very straight and stay on the lines. It took me quite a while to cut these pieces out, probably about an hour and a half. And yeah, so this is the whole process. So I guess the next point is I send these back to them and send them a link to this video, and they can piece it together and see what they need to do. And then they'll either send me some more pieces to test fit in, or they'll send me the finished product. I'm not sure which, but I'll update you, YouTube, and let you know what happens. This is OBX Hat Man. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll talk to y'all later.